Okay, so we've all heard the warnings, right? Antibiotic resistance. It's scary stuff. But what if I told you that threat is evolving? We're going to talk about a new kind of superbug today, one that doesn't just tank our best medicines. No, this one fights back, and it fights back hard.
I mean, think about it. We have these last resort antibiotics, our final line of defense. But what happens when they just stop working, when they fail? The stakes are, well, they're as high as they get, and we need an answer like yesterday.
And look, this isn't some plot from a sci fi movie. This is real. It's what global health experts have been screaming about for years. This whole crisis of antimicrobial resistance, AMR, you'll hear it called. It's shoving us into a future without effective antibiotics. An era where something as simple as a routine surgery could suddenly become a life or death gamble. So, to really get a grip on this, we need to meet our villain, the main character in this whole scary story. It's a bacterium called Klebsiella pneumonia. Now, this thing is already a known troublemaker, famous for causing nasty infections in hospitals. But here's the kicker. Some strains have developed two totally different but equally terrifying superpowers. The best way to think about it is like a warrior with a shield and a sword. First, you've got the shield. That's its multi-drug resistance. These strains have basically built an impenetrable fortress against our strongest antibiotics. They're almost impossible to treat. Then you've got the sword. This is something called hypervirulence. These strains are just viciously aggressive. They cause these horrible, fast-moving infections that can take down even healthy people. And here's the thing. For the longest time, a bacterium had the shield or it had the sword. It never ever had both. All right, so we've got the shield and we've got the sword. Two separate threats. But for years, scientists have had this nagging fear, this absolute nightmare scenario. What if? What if those two deadly traits could merge? What if they could combine into one single bacterium? They have a name for this. They call it convergence. And that brings us to the big question. What if a single bacterium could actually wield both the shield and the sword? A recent study decided to find out. I mean, just try to picture it. A single germ that's immune to everything we can throw at it and is hyperaggressive. Is that ultimate superbug just a scary what if, or is it already here? So let's just be crystal clear about what this shield really is. We're talking about carbapenem resistance. Carbapenems, these are the big guns, the absolute last line of defense in our antibiotic arsenal. When a bug is resistant to these, doctors are pretty much out of options. It means the bacterium's defense is almost perfect. Okay, and the sword, that's hypervirulence. And this isn't just about giving you a run-of-the-mill infection. No, this is about causing a catastrophe inside the body, even in perfectly healthy people. It's an all-out assault. The bacteria just aggressively tear through tissue, and the mortality rates are terrifyingly high. And that brings it all together, convergence. It's that moment when one single strain of bacteria gets its hands on both the impenetrable shield of drug resistance and the deadly sword of hypervirulence. This is it. This is the ultimate superbug that has been keeping public health officials up at night, a germ that's a nightmare to kill and at the same time is an expert at killing us. So the billion-dollar question, is this actually happening? Is it real? Well, to find out, a team of researchers in Egypt basically became genetic detectives. They launched this huge investigation, hunting for clues for hard evidence of this convergent superbug in samples taken from actual patients. What they did was they collected samples of Klebsiella pneumoniae from patients in a bunch of different hospitals. Then they sequenced the DNA of these bacteria. Think of it like reading their entire instruction manual. They were looking for the specific genetic code, the lines that give these bacteria their shield and their sword. Their whole investigation eventually narrowed down to just 19 key samples. And these weren't just any bacteria. All 19 were already known to be tough customers, highly resistant to those last resort drugs. The answer to everything was locked away inside the genes of these 19 bacteria. So, what did they find? What was the verdict? Well, what they uncovered in the DNA wasn't just interesting. It was a bombshell, a total shock that confirmed the absolute worst fears of the entire global medical community. First things first, let's talk about the shield. Just how resistant were these things? The answer is staggering. Every single one of those 19 samples was either what they call extensively drug-resistant or even worse, pan-drug-resistant. That means they were resistant to almost everything we have, or in some cases, literally everything.
The shield wasn't just up, it was a fortress. But, that's only half the equation. The really crucial question, the one that makes this a true nightmare scenario, was still hanging in the air. Okay, so these bacteria had the impenetrable shield. But did they also have the sword? Did they carry the genes for hypervirulence? And here it is, the moment of truth, the climax of the whole investigation. The researchers found that seven of those 19 super-resistant bacteria also had the complete genetic toolkit for hypervirulence. Just let that sink in for a second. The ultimate superbug, the one with both the shield and the sword, isn't some far-off threat we need to worry about in the future. It's here, right now. And what's really terrifying is that this isn't just some local problem in one country. The superbugs they found, they belong to families of bacteria, high-risk clones. They're already known to be circulating all over the globe. So this isn't an isolated incident. It's a brand new, incredibly dangerous evolution in a global fight that, frankly, we're already struggling with.
You don't even have to take my word for it. The researchers themselves, in their own paper, put it bluntly. This is a direct quote. This poses an imminent threat not only to Egypt, but also to the global community. I mean, you can't get much clearer than that. This isn't some dry academic paper. This is a 5-alarm fire for public health worldwide. So all of this leaves us with one final and pretty chilling question. Now that we know these convergent superbugs are real, we're officially in uncharted territory. We're now facing the reality of infections that are both super aggressive and, for all intents and purposes, untreatable. So how do we fight an enemy we can't stop and can't cure?